moment because he had to make sure, like, and I'm like, yeah, man, like, I'm not gonna do anything weird. But apparently, you know, as a rite of passage at this hospital, if you do have to go into the morgue, one of the things that the security guards would do would be turn out the lights and shut the freezer door and leave you in there. And so every time I go back and I think about that experience where I'm like standing in a pitch black freezer with a shit ton of dead bodies, all I think of is the autopsy of Jane Doe. And so I just think like I'm standing there and then I'm like, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. And he's laughing. He's on the other side. You all right in there, Lambert? And I'm like, I'm fine. I'm fine. I wasn't fine. I was not fine. No. That was horrifying. But you know what? I can actually say I've been locked in a freezer with a bunch of dead bodies.
Yeah. I'll pass. That's not on my bucket list.
I didn't think it was on mine either, but I learned something about myself that day.
Yeah. I guess.
Right? That's one of the things, like, did you really need to learn that? Was that something you wanted to learn about yourself? But yeah, I was a big fan of it.
I also love that Sally never abandons Franklin.
Never. Nope. Never. And
pushing him through the woods as he's swinging a flashlight around.
In a wheelchair. Like, really, how often do you... There it is. There we go. The
sole chainsaw kill in the movie?
Yeah, literally. And the thing is, how we're looking at this right now on the screen is that, like, you're not actually seeing the chainsaw go into Franklin. No. You're not seeing the blood physically spurting from his chest. No. Your point of view is behind Franklin's shoulder. Yeah. So you see his shoulder. You see a sliver of the back of his head.
I like to imagine it like this. That first, when he brought the chainsaw down, it came in at like an angle in the neck. So Franklin's head is askew, and that's the angle that you are watching.
Watching him go through. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. That's you're the point of view of Franklin getting chainsawed up.
You are. Yep. And I think that's I think that's kind of a lost art a little bit. Is like making the audience have the point of view of the victim. Yeah. And so you saw that chainsaw come down, and you did see some blood spurting, but it was very, very, very minimal. You saw it for maybe 2 seconds on the screen.
Dimly lit.
Very dimly lit. Yeah. So and the flashlight's shaken and everything. And so right now what we're watching too is we're watching Sally run through a bunch of brambles and branches and like bushes and stuff. And what's really interesting about this is that what she's running through is really, really sharp. So a lot of the scratches and the blood that's on her, it's hers. Yeah. She got hurt. Yeah, it was, that was one of the things I was reading about with this movie is that, like, this is just a really rough and ready movie. Yeah.
They gave literal blood, sweat, and tears on this movie.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I mean, even when we get to it, the dinner scene. Yeah, that is brutal.
Yeah, it freaks me out just thinking about
it. Does it?
Yeah,
yeah, we're not there yet, but man, it's...
Poor Sally. You know, she's full flight mode.
Yes, the whole time.
Just, you know, she's just doing what she can to keep moving, to stay away from the chainsaw.
The real chainsaw.
Yeah.
There's a blade on there.
Yeah.
Yep.
And she finds a house.
Yep. Yeah, they had to be very, very careful with their camera work on here because of the fact it was a real chainsaw. Mm-hmm. So they had to be very careful with, you know, how they were filming, where were the actors. Like, you had to be within, like a 5-foot radius of Leatherface, which is super cool, I think. I mean, that adds to the fear of it, too, is that, like, it's a legit chainsaw. Yeah. Like, they could have gotten hurt.
Man, I love this house.
God, I love this house.
I realized the other day that there's houses anymore don't have like a landing area, like a big hall. Yeah. You know, I remember my grandma's house over in the Highland Square area, and you would walk up the stairs. It was a wide staircase. Mm-hmm. But there were like 3 bedrooms, but there was like almost a room. Like, it was a hall. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. And there would be closets and then the bathroom and everything. I'm describing houses, obviously. But it was just like a grand hall. Yeah. And so, like, you could all walk out and have a conversation with each other. I don't know. Almost like the lobby of, like, the Friends apartment.
Like a vestibule.
Yeah. And I think the fact that it's so long, it almost gives you hope.
Yes, that she's going to make it.
Yeah.
Yeah. she's your final girl.
Yeah.
And that's one thing about, like, 70s, 80s, 90s horror movies. Your final girl.
Yeah.
I love your final girl. And, a lot of times with horror movies, you'll hear critics or reviewers or whoever, they'll talk about how misogynistic horror movies can be because of brutality towards the women. And typically, your murder victims are women.
Yeah.
And they'll be raped, they'll be assaulted, they'll be tortured, they'll be this, they'll be that. And so can be very misogynistic.
Yeah.
It can be very rough to watch as a woman.
Absolutely. But, and there is a movement of people who are filmmakers who are trying to take that back and show a lot more empowerment in their movies. And I think that's a great thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think...
Giving the woman back the power.
Yeah. I think, not to play devil's advocate, but to...
Oh, white man. Gotta play devil's advocate. Always gotta play devil's advocate.
But we are on a podcast.
We are.
At the time, there was a sentiment of men being tough and, You
couldn't have feelings. You couldn't be vulnerable.
Right. So...
What is it? Man up. Grow some balls.
So a man in distress is not going to get butts into theaters.
But, wouldn't it though?
No, I don't think so.
I want to see a strong person get scared. Yeah. I want to see Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson running from Leatherface.
Yeah. I think you want to see that now because it's so ingrained in our culture and our history that that's not what men are.
No.
You know what I mean? Even if you watch the Conjuring movies...
Patrick Wilson's got to be the strong man.
Yeah.
Yep.
All the time.
All the time.
Yeah.
Right now, I am reading this book called The Science of Women in Horror.
Okay.
And it's by Meg, and I know I'm going to butcher her last name, so Meg, I do apologize if you ever hear this. Halfdahl and Kelly Florence. Mm-hmm. It's pretty much talking about women's role in horror and how we're presented, how the whole science behind the final girl. And it's one of the best books I've read, truly. Yeah. And I really recommend it if you are a horror fan, if you are a woman in horror. I really recommend picking up this book, audiobook, whatever. I have terrible eyesight, so it is available on the Nook and the Kindle if you are interested. But it really talks about the woman's perspective in pretty much brutality towards women. Yeah, so it's a really great read. And so right now we're watching Sally look around at some hung up meat.
She has been captured.
Yes.
Abused with a broom.
Yes. Yeah, so now she's just kind of hanging out waiting for whatever's going to happen next for her. I really do love watching her emotion on this. Yeah. Because you feel the fear, Yeah. You absolutely feel the fear.
It's funny how much time you spend with her, I think, compared to a lot of horror movies.
Yeah.
We are an hour in, and we just spent almost 10 minutes getting chased by Leatherface around the house. And there's still like a half hour left in the movie.
Yeah.
You spend a lot of time watching her get...
chased.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what's great is she doesn't, give up.
No.
She keeps fighting back.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Till the very end.
Yeah.
Right now, she's picking up a knife. She is going for it.
Yeah.
This is... If I were ever to be kidnapped, this is what I would hope I would do. This is my fight response right here. This
absolutely.
She's... Yeah, right now she's getting beat up with a broom.
Yep.
This scene is very, I will tell you, one of the things that scares me or makes me angry, or gives me, the biggest kind of reaction in horror is a sadist.
Yeah.
I, someone, the guy the character that was currently beating Sally up with a broom, he's...
The cook.
The cook. He's got a smile on his face the whole time, and he's just
enjoying himself.
He's whacking her with a friggin' broom, and not the end that you think you would whack her with.
Yeah,
it is the actual broom end that he's whacking her with. So it's he's smiling at her while he's doing it. He's laughing, and I will say it's one of one of the things I look for in a horror movie, because I want to have a reaction.
Yeah.
I want to watch a movie and I'm going to have a really strong reaction to it.
The worst thing a movie can do is just exist.
Yeah. It doesn't bring you any kind of
I would rather
feeling.
A movie be like over the top horrible.
Absolutely.
Than just be.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Because at least if it's over the top horrible, there are still elements of it that you're like, damn.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like even if it's over the top gore, think about all the tubing and like the special makeup and like the special effects that they have to do, like the dummy bodies that they have to make. Like you just appreciate it. You're like, yeah, this is a Z grade horror movie, but I appreciate what you're trying for, man.
Return of the Living Dead Part 7.
Jason in space. Nothing makes me happier than Jason in space.
It's fun.
It's a great movie. I will die on that hill.
Yeah.
Jason in space. Well, let me rephrase. Jason X.
Right.
It's not Jason in space like Jason Takes Manhattan, but
it's Jason in space.
It's Jason in space, and I will die on this hill that is one of my favorite ridiculous horror movies. Absolutely. It's not my favorite horror movie, but it is up there.
So much fun.
There is to me, one of the most creative kills was him putting her face in pretty much dry ice.
Yeah.
And then shattering it. Liquid nitrogen. Liquid nitrogen. And who just has a sink full of liquid nitrogen? Why would you have that on a space station?
It's because that's what they use in the future in space.
Apparently.
Obviously. I love... He's continuing to poke the broom and jab at her as they're driving to the house. He's riling her up.
Yep.
It's funny.
He never stops.
No. Funny is maybe not the right word. It's...
Interesting.
Yes. You know, the family has always been in need. Yes. They're falling on hard times.
Yep.
They found out, like, hey, we can survive off of people.
Yep.
And then they happen to find out that they kind of liked it.
Yeah.
At least the cook. The cook does.
Yes.
You know, the interesting thing about Leatherface is that we don't know.
Yeah.
We don't know.
Yeah.
You know, I made the joke when he burst out the door, oh shit, there's another one. Yeah. Like, for him, we don't know what he's thinking.
Yeah.
Because he has nothing. He has no lines of dialogue. He makes disgruntled noises. He squeals like a pig. Yeah. Like,
and that's what they wanted from him.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that was what introduced the scary faceless murderer.
Yeah.
No dialogue, just sounds.
Yeah.
Just sounds. Because that's the thing. If you're captured, if you're in a situation where you're, you know, terrified and someone's hurting you, if they don't talk, it is 10 times scarier. Because you're like, why are you doing this? What are you going to do next? And they just don't say anything. It's horrifying.
Yeah.
Horrifying. And I think that that's what makes the slasher genre so fantastic, is that they knew what was going to be the scariest thing.
Yeah.
Was a large, non-verbal, faceless person whose literally just instinct is to kill.
Yeah. Gunnar Hansen himself.
The Icelandic giant.
Poet.
Is he a poet?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
Does he have like a book of poetry? I'm going to lose my mind.
Does.
No fucking way.
Bro.
Oh my god.
Bro.
Jay's got to pull it up for me. I've got to see this. What's cool too about Gunnar Hansen is he actually the mouthpiece that he's wearing, like those fake teeth that he's wearing, he found those.
No.
Yeah.
In his biography, Chainsaw Confidential, he went to his dentist and had them made.
Did he really?
He did. And the reason that he knows this is because he had to have impressions made of his mouth beforehand.
Okay.
And he had done it for something else, like unrelated to the film. And
wow.
Yeah, his dentist commented, like, yeah, it'll be no problem because I've already got the mold of your mouth.
That's fantastic. Yeah. So Jay's right now pulling up the title of Gunnar Hansen's poetry book for me. But I would rather just say it's Leatherface's poetry book. Yeah, she's still fighting. So the cook at the hitchhiker just brought Sally back to the house.
Look what your brother did to the door!
Oh, you're about to hear Leatherface squeal for the first time, which is very exciting. But yeah, she's got a bag on her, and she's, tied up. She's still kicking. She's still fighting.
Maybe it's not poetry. Travel writing. Islands at the Edge of Time: A Journey to America's Barrier Islands by Gunnar Hansen.
Wow.
Yeah.
Travel writing.
Yeah. Islands at the Edge of Time is the story of one man's captivating journey along